guys, it's Omar Mukhtar here. So I haven't vlogged about school for so long now because I've been busy with my schoolwork and I've just had the junior production. So I've been a little short of time. But today I finally found some quiet time, and so I decided to tell you guys all about my past week at school. So before we start, I should probably tell you what I'm doing right now. So I'm feeling artistic today, so I've decided to get my little sketchbook out and do a bit of drawing and painting. So this is the piece I'm working on right now. So it's kind of like a mix between a flower tree, cherry blossom tree, and leaves. So yeah, and I'm using this watercolor set, my new favorite watercolor set, which was actually a gift from Mrs. Mum and Mr. Dad. And the reason I like it is because it fits into my pocket, so I can bring it wherever I want to, and whenever I feel like doing a little painting, when I have free time, then I can just take it out of my pocket, and it expands into 6 different watercolor palettes, and so I think that's pretty cool. And I'm also touching the drawing up with these color pencils, and these were a gift from Abang Haikal. It was a gift from before he left for Malaysia. So so Abang Haikal, if you're watching this, thank you again, really appreciate it. So yeah, let's get started about my week at school then. So Monday, we'll skip Monday because it was just another boring school day. But Tuesday was the second week after the junior production ended, and all us junior production cast members were feeling a little down because we had so much free time on our hands that we didn't have before, when normally we would be going to rehearsals every break time, every lunch time, and every day after school. But now that we didn't have any rehearsals anymore, it was like we didn't know what to do with our lives anymore. So the two co-directors of the junior production, they decided to organize a cast brunch so all us cast members could meet each other for a second time and talk with each other and share another experience with each other for the last time, because the friendship that we all built with each other during the junior production was very strong, and we didn't want to lose that. So, and the co-directors felt that too, so they organized that brunch so we could keep that friendship alive in a sense. And so everybody had a lot of fun, obviously, and the food they served, this is not totally related to strengthening our friendships, but the food they served was amazing. There were croissants, there were pastries, and all sorts of desserts, and it was all delicious. So yeah, I guess that brunch was good in two ways, both having fun with our friends and also eating great food. So yeah, that was the main event of Tuesday. Wednesday was nothing much. like Monday. But then on Thursday, um, on Thursday was like, I think, the main event of the week for me. I should probably do a little explaining first before I get to this point. So in our religious studies lesson, we're focusing on Islam, and the section of Islam that we're focusing on at this moment in time is Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr. So me and my classmate, we prepared a slideshow to present to the class all about Eid al-Fitr and like each of our country's traditions. So like my country being Malaysia, and what we do for Eid al-Fitr, and his country being Pakistan, so what his family traditionally does for Eid al-Fitr. And so overall it went really well. I was surprised at how well it went, and everybody enjoyed it. Even our religious studies teacher who was sitting at the back of the class was laughing his head off at some of the moments in the presentation. So what we did was we talked about each of the elements of Eid. So the morning prayers, and then the food, which is obviously a big part of it, and the clothing, and the music too. And so me and my friend together, we managed to create 47 whole slides on Eid al-Fitr in both our countries, and so we were really proud of that. And it wasn't actually just the slides that we included too. We got some of it was interactive too. So like we both brought in traditional Eid clothing from both our countries. So he brought in something called a shalwar kameez. It's like a shorter version of a jubah, and so it normally comes in like neutral color. So he brought that in for a member of our class to wear, and then I brought in a Baju Melayu and a Songkok. So I gave that to one of my classmates to wear too. And so we decided to have a little competition between both of our outfits, and so our classmates had to decide which outfit they liked the best. And so I'm not sure if I should have been expecting it or not, but all my classmates said that the Baju Melayu was the best outfit, because like even my Muslim friends, none of them being from Malaysia, they'd never actually seen anybody wear anything like the Baju Melayu for Eid. And so they were really shocked when I brought it out the bag and said that this is what we wear for Eid, because they were like, wow. They were just generally shocked. And so yeah, so the Baju Melayu turned out to be the best Eid outfit. But a lot of people wouldn't take my word for the fact that the food that we typically eat for Hari Raya for Eid is like the best, in my opinion. I told them about satay and ketupat, which are both two of my favorite foods for Eid, not just for Eid, but for any occasion. But my classmates, they wouldn't believe they wouldn't take my word for it that satay and ketupat was delicious, because they thought they would just be plain old chicken and rice. But I managed to convince them in the end. And of course, everybody's favorite part of the presentation was the music. So, the music was actually at the end of our presentation, and so my friend went first and he played some traditional Pakistani Eid music, and then when it came to me playing typical Malay raya music, the two songs I chose were Balik Kampung and Suasana Hari Raya. So those two songs I chose, I played them both, and all of my classmates said that like these were some of the catchiest songs that they ever heard. And so I was kind of shocked. I mean, because like, yeah, I think they're good songs too, but I didn't think that like you'd like them this much. But yeah, they really enjoyed the music, and a lot of my Muslim friends, they said that when Eid comes next year, they'd probably be listening to Malay Eid songs too. So I think that by the end of the presentation, I managed to turn at least 10 of my classmates into into Malaysians in a sense. So yeah, so that was the RS presentation. So the end of the presentation, when everybody stood up and clapped for both me and my classmate, that was one of my proud moments. Not only because they enjoyed the presentation, but because like they appreciated my culture and like my heritage that much. And so like I was quite literally smiling from ear to ear. Oh, and I forgot to mention the best part of the presentation was when I was giving some examples of Malay dishes and Malay food and dessert. So kalau di Klaten we have a dessert called jalomah, and so that's like it's kind of like egg, isn't it, Mommy?
Sorry?
It's jalomah. It's kind of like eggs, isn't it? Egg and
Yeah, it's made egg, the egg yolk
okay, so
and sugar.
egg yolk and sugar. So it's like yellow strands of egg yolk and sugar, and so it's really sweet, and it's one of my favorite Kelantanese dessert, but one of my favorite all-time desserts. And so I showed them a picture, I showed my classmates a picture of jalomah. So the first thought that my classmates had was that it looked like jalebi. So jalebi is a Pakistani Indian dessert or sweet treat, which is like it's a yellowy, or it's like a golden color, and it normally comes in circular shapes, and it's quite sticky and quite chewy. And it's quite sweet. And so my classmates thought that it wasn't jalomah, but it was jalebi, and so I assured them that it was not jalebi, and it was jalomah. And so I explained to them what jalomah was, what it was made of, and like it's quite different from jalebi. And so one of my classmates decided to ask me which one I like better, jalebi or jalomah. And naturally, because jalumah is my all-time favorite dessert, I replied, of course, jalumah is better than jalebi. And at that point, not just that one classmate, but all of my classmates gasped with shock because they were so surprised that anything was better than jalebi. Because jalebi is like the staple dessert of Pakistan and India, and so like they were really shocked that anything could be better than jalebi, and so it almost got into a debate about which one was better, jalomah or jalebi, and I did, at the end I still didn't manage to convince them that jalomah, well, in my opinion, that jalomah was better than jalebi, but I guess that's still to be debated. Yeah, but so my opinion is that if it was a case of jalomah versus jalebi, jalomah would win. But as we could clearly see from the opinions of my classmates, some people think differently from that. And maybe you're one of them. So I'd love to hear what you think about this matter. Jalomah or jalebi? Tell me in the comments below. That was the RS presentation in a nutshell. So yeah, it went pretty well, and I was really pleased with the outcome with the effect that it had on my classmates. Yeah. Yeah, and then so that was Thursday, and Friday. So before I tell you about what happened on Friday, I need to explain to you a little thing that happens at my school.
What are you doing like that? Are you vlogging?
Yeah. Do you wanna come say hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Come on, say hello.
Hello.
Hi, say hi.
Hi.
What are you doing here?
I'm gonna look what you're doing.
Oh, well, I'm telling everybody about what I did at school this week.
What is that?
Oh, this is my drawing. This is my drawing.
Oh.
Yeah, and those are watercolors.
Ooh.
And these are color pencils. This is an eraser.
Yeah.
This is my other notebook, my sloth notebook. I'm very proud of this notebook.
Can I see what's inside?
It's a sloth notebook. Now that's for another day. And my glass of milk.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all you wanted to see?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you gonna go now?
Yeah.
You're gonna go?
Yeah.
You're gonna go?
No.
Are you sure? Are you gonna go?
No.
Are you sure? Why?
I want to stay.
So are you gonna go now?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, say bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So, as I was saying before, I'm a little interruption. At my school, at King Edward School, guys, we have this thing called Friday afternoon activities, and it, like, as you can probably tell from the name, it happens every Friday afternoon. And what we do is, instead of having lessons on Friday afternoons, we have like another activity. So for example, yoga, or maybe a tour around a museum, or maybe a team building activity or something like that. And so it's supposed to be a break at the end of the week for us. And so sometimes we get really interesting activities to do. So sometimes you get to learn languages, so things like Russian, or Spanish, and then one that we had recently was something called job applications, where we had to practice writing our own CV. But the activity that we had this Friday was mindfulness, and it was a sample of a 9-lesson course that's going to start next year on mindfulness. And so mindfulness is all about it's all about learning to focus your mind on what you want to focus on, and focusing it on certain things, so that it calms you down or relaxes you in certain situations. And so it's although it may sound easy, it's actually a very hard skill to learn, but it's also a very useful skill. And so and you can tell it's a hard skill to learn because they offer nine 1.5 hour lessons on it. But what we had this Friday afternoon was a sample of it. So basically, our first activity, we had to focus on the feeling in our hands after we clapped really hard. And so that was supposed to direct your attention to a certain place, to a certain part of your body or a certain object, thing. And so that's basically learning to control your mind, to focus on what you want it to focus on. And so that was our sample session of mindfulness, which was quite enjoyable and quite interesting too. It's quite an interesting experience. And so, yeah. Eight o'clock. So yeah, that is pretty much my school week summed up. I've left out a couple of days, but that's just because I didn't want to bore you with boring stuff. But yeah, but that's only this week. Next week I have a few more interesting things coming up, and I really want to share them with you. So thank you guys for watching this vlog. I really appreciate your awesome support. As always, be sure to keep an eye out for more of my vlogs, because I'll definitely be updating more about school. And of course, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hit the bell button too, so you don't miss out on our next videos. Thank you again, and goodbye. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll get back to my drawing.